Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. Well, Cardi B has just came out on Instagram saying that she has had tenants living in her home for 90 days. No, not 90 days, I'm sorry. 9 months and they haven't paid rent. She seemed real frustrated about investing in real estate. Also, she complained about the heater breaking down, the AC needing to be replaced, the lighting, the walls needing to be torn down so that there could be rewiring, snakes in the backyard. Well, guys, I'm going to weigh in on what she just said regarding this whole situation here. So some of you may know, particularly those of you who are diehard fans of Cardi B, is that she owns a home. I know at least one home in New Jersey, near New York. Then she has an Airbnb in the Dominican Republic. She owns an LA home, and I'm hearing conflicting reports as far as how many houses she actually has in Georgia. Some reports say it's only one, others says it's five, right? I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem, honestly, with what she has said. Yes, when you own property, there is a level of responsibility that must be done. Now, her lifestyle requires her to travel all over the world, to do tours, to make special appearances. So obviously, yes, it's a lot on her. Plus, she's a wife and a mother. That's two additional jobs. Okay. There may be other people that are in her same position and they're not complaining about it. They may be okay with it, but she herself, clearly, she's being quite frustrated at this particular point in time, which I completely understand. That's why I have the one property that I'm a landlord on, but the other properties, my preference is to go and do mortgage notes. Because when you deal with mortgage notes, all you deal with is collecting the mortgage payments from the homeowners. You're like a bank. So you don't have to do any property maintenance that she's talking about at all. You don't have to deal with tenants that she has to deal with at all when you invest the way I do. And so I completely understand. And my life is not as hectic as hers. Okay, I don't have the level of responsibility. My job does not require me to travel as much as she does. Yet me and her are also both Libras. My birthday was not too long ago on the 13th. So, you know, that might also be the sentiment. We all are not created the same. We're not all meant to do the same thing. There are different strategies, but there's so many people are just locked in a few strategies in real estate, not realizing, wait a minute, there are other ways to invest. Okay. And yes, I do have courses in case anybody's interested, but I wanted to go back into what Cardi was saying. So listening to her talk, there were certain things that I picked up on that I wanted to just expound upon. All right. So, being that she has to be in different places at different times, and she doesn't always have to necessarily uh, be, well, not necessarily have to, she can't, do certain things with certain properties because not only are the laws different, but here's another thing that you guys got to realize too, is that there are certain services that are available in certain states that might not necessarily be available in other states. cities and counties, right? So that's something that you definitely, have to think about when you're picking property. She mentioned that the property manager that she has doesn't cover certain expenses that she has, or there's certain responsibilities that they don't cover. Well, first of all, I'd like to say this. I question her property manager. I'm thinking to myself, not knowing all of the details, but with my experience that I've had, and as you guys know, well, right now I sold one property in Georgia. I have the other one. And I did have a property manager at that time before I turned it into a mortgage note. Sometimes property managers are not trustworthy. They're not honest. I did cover that in my book, The Perils of Real Estate Scam Alert. But let me just put you guys up on game. Okay. You have two types of property managers. You have property managers that will charge you a flat fee, or property managers that will charge you a percentage of your rent. When you're getting a property manager, you can't just choose any property manager. You really have to look at several and basically, ask them questions. What does your fee cover? And what extra additional fees do you charge? Because some of them will charge you a fee for when the tenant is late. Some of them take the whole entire late payment. Some of them take a part. When it comes to eviction, some of them will charge you for that. Some of them don't even do it. So you will have to find a lawyer that can go to the courthouse and represent you so that you don't have to go. Okay, you can have that happen. And then also when it comes to repairs, sometimes the repairs are not included. They're going to charge you additional for repairs. And then there's also a contract termination fee. Yeah, many of them will charge those fees. That's why it's important to what? Ask the questions, number one, and number two, read those contracts to see what is covered and what is not covered. Now, for Cardi, it kind of sounds like, I got the feeling, the impression, maybe I'm wrong, I'm not replaying it, but it sounds as though she's had repeated tenants that were no good. If you have repeated tenants that are no good, you really need to look at that property manager, because they may be putting bad tenants into the property on purpose. Why? Because they'll charge you for the eviction fees and the extra fees that rack up. You get that with a bad tenant. You don't get that with a good tenant. You see what I'm saying? So some property managers will do stuff like that. Okay. The other issue I wanted to point out is, she mentioned about she had a new house, and a lot of people think that, oh, well, it's a new house, so there's not going to be any issues. Let me tell you, that is not the case. Okay. There are contractors, subcontractors also, that will cut corners. And because you're not a contractor yourself, you might not even have one in your family, you don't know that they did something wrong. Okay. And even if you did have somebody in your family, and even if you are one yourself, you pretty much have to be looking over people's shoulder to make sure that they do what they are supposed to do. So you can never assume that, oh, well, it's new, so it's not going to have any problems. No, there may be a few problems. It may not have as many as an old home, but rest assured, unfortunately, yes, you may encounter some problems with the new house. The other thing I wanted to say is she mentioned that there was a house that she had built from the ground up, brand new. Okay. And the builder was on code. up to code, but because they use so much electricity in that house, they realize, okay, this house cannot supply all the electricity that it needs to satisfy her and her family. So here's my issue. Here's my thoughts on this. Whether something is up to code or not up to code, you really have to have open communication with the architect, with the builders, the contractors, everybody, the developer, when it comes to brand new construction. I think this is an important lesson that all of us can take. And that was a valuable gem, honestly, that she dropped, because most people, even if you were to take a course, you wouldn't even think, hey, how much electricity I'm going to need. She obviously, because of her profession, because of what she does, needs more than the average person, right? So that was something that I took away from what she said that I thought was extremely, extremely important. And then lastly, what I want to tag on is I really don't agree with a lot of people who said, oh, she's stupid, and putting her down and calling her all kinds of names. Listen, we're not all built the same. You don't have the same lifestyle that she has, probably. You're probably not touring all over the world. You probably, some of you who are criticizing her probably don't even own any real estate at all. But see, these gurus, unfortunately, on social media, they're pumping out so many lies. And when somebody comes out and actually tells the truth, you shoot fires at them when you really should be shooting fires at those gurus who are lying to you. She's telling you the truth. Okay, there is responsibility that she was probably not prepared for, that she probably doesn't even want to be prepared for. To be quite honest with you, that's why she said she prefers the Birkin bag over buying houses, because the Birkin bag does not require much maintenance. Okay, doesn't require you to go to court and what have you. My only issue is this. In my art appraisal course, I don't recall them saying that Birkin bags appreciate. Listen, if I'm wrong, drop it down in the comments, but that particular brand does not appreciate in value. My thing is, here's where me and Cardi B part ways, is that at least with the real estate, with the property, if you hold it long enough, it will appreciate. And she also did mention that I believe 2 of the properties did appreciate $200,000. So if she were to sell right now, she would still come up on top, at least with 2 of the properties. All right. The other thing too that I wish Cardi B did not do, I wish she did not say that she let the people who have stayed in the property for 9 months just stay there, that she's not even going to go and do anything, because that can bite her in the end, especially if she decides that she wants to turn around and sell the property. It can be an issue. Those tenants can use what she said against her. They can use that in court. So yeah, we got to be careful what we say on social media. It's good to be real, but sometimes you got to dial back on how you feel. Everybody does not need to know every single last thing, especially things that have to go to court. It's best to wait until after you have your court cases, after the rulings are set, before you speak and say anything. Because we live in a litigious society, and what you say, even on social media, can be used in court against you and not for you. Okay, so that is my feeling. That is my 2 cents, if you will, on the whole situation. So, guys, give your opinions, give me some feedback on how you feel about what Cardi B shared with you. Anyway, and also remember, feel free to pass this amongst your friends because each one reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.